Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where and when you're watching this show from. My name is Denise Belisle, and this is It's All Good. Lucas here for a chat. I'm so excited today to have an amazing guest. It's Joel Zimelstern. I'll say it earlier better, but that's okay. It's Joel. And he's an amazing gentleman from the United Kingdom. And I've met him just before COVID, and we became friends instantly. So, before we go there, I want to quickly talk about why I call this show "It's All Good" because of my cup. Yeah, that's the main reason. It's all good, but also because that's what life is. You might think, "No, life sucks" and all that, but it's a choice. You can choose every day to decide that life is good, and look at what's grateful about what you have in your life that is amazing. Where you can also see that, if anything bad happened, well, honestly, you can't change it, because as soon as it happened, it's part of the past. And because it's a past, you can't change it unless you discover like a time machine. You can go in the past and repair things. It doesn't happen. So all you can do is move forward in life and say it's all good, and look for the gift in those little situations, because there's always a gift. There's always something to learn. There's always something to move forward to. And little, maybe a week down the road, 6 months down the road, 2 years down the road, you would say, "Oh my goodness, that thing was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because I'm here now because of that situation." So that's why it's all good is my way of living. It's my way of thinking. And I like to spread that around and help people around me switch their mind a little bit to see what's good in their life. So I'll cut it at that, and I'll invite Joel to join me. He's a business and executive coach. So here he is. Doo-doo-doo. Welcome, Joel. It's so good to have you here.
My God, I'm shocked by what I look like, but thank you for showing me. Nice to see you, Denise.
Oh, well, it's all good.
It's all
You
good.
look as good as you can be in this moment.
Bless you. Well, it's really funny. I know we're going to talk in more particular context. I wrote an article last night um, about Viktor Frankl's work. I'm sure you're familiar with Viktor Frankl.
Mhm.
Okay, I won't give you his entire background, but he was somebody who was in the concentration camps
Okay.
who survived,
Mhm.
and he came up with a concept called logotheory, I think it's pronounced. And the real takeaway from it was that in the adversity that we all experience from time to time, we have a choice of the meaning that we take from it. And that choice can be for good, for better, or obviously for worse. And it can leave us debilitated, leave us small. And I think, having known you as we quite some time, almost my entire time here in Canada,
Yeah.
you
You
are
just you
about,
just came up the boat when I met you.
yeah, a bit more sophisticated. We flew, but I
Yeah.
understand the point. But you are about empowering
Mm.
people, and so that they exhibit and behave in their authentic self in
Mhm.
all things, and are not dictated by some of the decisions and choices that were either made for them or by them in the past. So you just
Mhm.
mentioned the time machine. We don't have it, but there isn't a pathway that determines what tomorrow will be either. We
Mhm.
can choose how we walk along
Yeah.
that path. So I think it's all good. Life is good.
Yeah.
Is a
Yeah,
wonderful.
because tomorrow is not written yet, right? We can every morning when we wake up, if we didn't like how our life was yesterday, we can say, "Okay, today I decide that my life's going to move in that direction." It might not change overnight, but the more you focus on how you want your life to change, the more you focus on where you want to go, I describe that as almost like a shovel, and you shovel your way into where you want to go. It might take a little bit, because it took you a bit to be who you are today, but the more you do it, the more the easy flow is going to go in that direction, and you'll make the changes you want. So
Yeah, I think one of the big challenges we all have, whether it's in business or in personal life, to bring it back to topic we will talk about, is that we think we have an infinite amount of time.
mm,
And the reality is none of us know when we'll take our last breath. And even when we do, we won't know we've done so. We have to remember that we only have now. And if we can be the best we are and make better quality choices for our benefit, which serendipitously will be for the benefit of everyone, we can only do right.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you with that. And that's why we get along so well, even if we haven't talked to each other for a few years.
Oh, we're using ESP.
Yeah, we are connected for sure. So tell me about who you are, like, but what you're doing, and how it got there. Like, we see success coach in the back, and you coach executive and business people. So tell me a little bit how you got to do that. I know you've done some NLP also. So
okay, I'm going to make this
let's wrap
as
it all up.
and as exciting for people as they possibly can. The truth is, it goes back to, I think it was something like 1997. I asked someone a question, and in asking that question, I made myself look a fool. It really is as simple as that. And my ego was such that you have to find out more. And that began a formalized journey of self-discovery. And that was in the United Kingdom. And when you mention the shovel, it's the old expression, when you're in a hole, you got to learn to stop digging. My habit was so arrogant that I would keep digging. So I went and while I was doing my business and my work, I got into the journey of self-development, therapy, some esoteric stuff, including Neuro-Linguistic Programming, NLP, and a number of modalities that flowed from that. I realized that as a tool, it was really beneficial for my clients, but it also helped my team who worked for me at the time get out of their own way in being in service of their clients. And so I carried on doing that. And I became a coach, did all these things while still running my own business. I started exploring marketing. You name it, I dug deep because I hated the arrogance of ignorance. I might write that down. Arrogance of ignorance. It might be a topic I talk about some other time. And what I realized was that I can do more. I can be supportive of people. And so back in 2018, 2019, I decided I'm going to sell my business, which I did in the United Kingdom. And I got tired of some of the other issues that were going on in the UK. This was just before Brexit's vote, but there was division and hate that existed anyway. So off the back of that, I said to my wife, hey, I want to start over. And I will say there was a lot of serendipitous things that happened. I got introduced to a man who, ironically, I'd played golf with 10 years earlier in Vegas, go figure, who was connected with the organization. So I decided to embrace the action coach business because I like their intellectual property. I like that they are doing something that's impactful within business. And the reason that capitalism is both a dirty word and it's a great asset. And I know I want to talk to you about conscious capitalism. I'm a fervent believer that there are some ills within business, without a doubt. However, every business should be a net contributor to society, whether it's through its team that they employ. They pay for their mortgages, puts food on their table. It could be argued sometimes not enough. They provide product or service to their customers that customers want to buy. Sometimes those products can be better. Remove some of the inbuilt obsolescence that exists, right? Hope you're listening, Apple, but or whomever you happen to, other brands are available. The point being is that if it's done right, it could be the greatest asset for you to make the impact, to make better quality choices, the impact that you want to make. As I tell my clients, doesn't matter if they're executives or small business owners, make your money within the business by adding value.
Mm-hmm.
Money you get is going to be the applause that the customers give you. Run the business right, you'll make profit. Then you've got a choice what you do with that profit. You could travel first class if that's what fulfills you, but you could also contribute and make a difference beyond your immediate stakeholders. You can create an influence that contributes beyond your immediate bubble. You can give to charity. You can repair some of the ills of the world. You can have a mouthpiece to verbalize some of the challenges that are going on. And I think business, for better or worse, enables that platform to rise. Gives us something that we can readily accept, that we can do more than just accept that this is how things are. We can make things how we want them to be. I think business can do that. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm here.
And I love the full length explanation, because it's important to, as a business owner, and if you are an executive in a company, because you have responsibility for everybody below you and people above you and your clients, so I mean, these two positions, whether you own your own business or you have people that count on you, to have a good perspective for the whole of humanity. Like, it's unfortunate when people are, instead of the win-win-win, they are the me, right? Like, it's all about how much more money can I make? How much more money can I put in my bank account? How much more, how bigger of a yacht can I buy next year, right? As opposed to, how can I help more people with the money I'm making? How can I, as you mentioned, how can we invest in research and development, right? R&D, to make a better product, reinvest our money to see how much better we can do what we're doing. So all of that, it's two different attitudes. And for what I understand, is that what you're supporting people to do, to be the best they can be and to do the best they can do. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm just making a note as we were talking. I think we all have a choice in life, whether or not that's in business or otherwise. I've also want to say that I think that everybody is in business. They sell their skills, their time to their employer. If they value themselves more and they add more, in a perfect world, the employer should recognize that. But they're always the self-employed individual who are having to do things because it's their choice. And if they want it to be different, they are at choice again to do things differently. Now, that can come across a little disingenuous, because there are some things that are by necessity. But I want to talk, you used an expression, net gain, that you can be a net gain. And I want to change that language ever so slightly, that I think we have to be as a net contributor. Because let's face it, if I bought myself a yacht, and whether it was a 36-foot yacht or a 100-foot yacht, you could say that I've got a net gain. But what have I contributed? What's the difference I've made? I can still only sleep in one bed at one time. And I think there's a lovely video online of Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest and shrewdest investors of all time. And someone asked him, Warren, what's the difference between being rich and wealthy? And he asked the person, just to clarify, he understood the question, but he asked her to clarify. And he says, look, I'm exceptionally rich. I'm so rich. But the truth of the matter is, right, I still only eat 3 meals a day. I still watch the same entertainment, and I still have to go to work, or I choose to go to work. Let's be fair. But I travel better. That's the real difference in my life.
Yeah.
Better quality choices. But wealth, as he said to me, if I came to that last hour of my life, it doesn't matter how rich I am, I'm not going to be in a situation where my wealth could be improved. It's whether I've expressed myself fully within my gift of time here on earth. Have I done what's right? That's being wealthy. Being rich doesn't buy you another hour. It doesn't give you a new choice.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's so I think if we can think about it as a net contribution. So you said win-win-win. I know we spoke about this previously. So often when you talk about negotiation, at least in business, you talk win-win, aim for, or both win.
Yeah.
But that's just talking about the two parties who are negotiating. But we ignore the fact that we contribute to the environment that we live in too.
Our action in every day has an impact.
Exactly. There's a great book I read a few years ago. It says, be a good ancestor, not leave a legacy, but how do we become a great ancestor? So I'm working through the idea of what I call conscious capitalism. It's not my own expression. There are different takes on it. But the idea of myself as a business owner, supporting my team as a stakeholder, who support the customers as a stakeholder, will support my business, is totally correct. But there are other stakeholders there. There are the suppliers. There is the tax burden we have to pay. There is the environment that is providing us with the raw materials to produce our product. There are those people who are picking the coffee beans for cents on the dollar, somewhere ever they are in the world, who we are having an impact on. And how can we do that so we can act consciously, so we can elevate the experience of everyone? And there are different standards that we can aim to aspire to, whether it's ISO standards, International Standards Organization, or whether it's B Corp. These are great, but I don't like the idea of greenwashing or B Corp as a badge of honor and say it's done now, I'm a B Corp. And I know that part of their standards are that there is some constant review and monitoring, but what that is just the highest standard that we have today. What is the standard that when we look back on the successful completion of our lives, that we know that our business, ourselves, the society, the community that we are part of, which is a much, much wider community than we ever think, as you said, that we're connected, right?
Yeah.
Go figure. What do we have to do so that we can make it ultimately great for all of us? And
so how do you support people, or how do you, as a coach, to work with executive and business owner? So how do you even start implementing that within someone's culture or mindset?
So let me row back a few meters just to demonstrate what I perceive as the difference between an executive coach and a business coach. So a business coach fundamentally works with the business and the business owner to produce tangible business results. It may be putting in processes, systems, marketing, sales, teamwork, communication, time management, improving the bottom line. But it's also separating the business from the identity of the owner so that they recognize that the business exists to realize their personal achievements and goals. Whereas an executive coach, you're using your skills to support the executive, the C-suite, in becoming the better version of themselves. It sounds like a cliche, within their role, so that they deliver the right type of skills, or learn the right type of skills so they can apply them for the benefit of the organization as a whole. You're not necessarily impacting instantly the bottom line of a business.
Okay.
There might be areas that you go in the support. So that, if I treat that as a blunt demarcation line, I go and ask almost every one of my clients and anybody who talks to me one simple question, and when you dig on it, most people struggle. And it's, so what do you want? And they'll give you an answer and explore the question a bit further. What would that mean for you? So I want a 60-foot yacht. So what would that mean for me? Oh, it means I've got the biggest yacht in the Marina. Oh, okay. And what would that do for you? Well, that might stoke my ego, might make me feel better. And we play around with that. And you get behind all of these presenting desires with my Joey air quotes. Is, what is really driving someone? What is that internal purpose and that why?
Yeah. And often they don't realize initially what's the real want into whatever they want. Like, I want to make, let's say, $1 million a year in my business. But what is that going to do to you? I wanted that. And in the end, my wife will be happier because I get more time, more money to spend on vacation or whatever, right? In the end, it's as simple as you just want to make his wife happy, right? Like, you never know what the direction that it can take. It's unless you ask those questions, you don't know where you're going.
So right? let me give you quite a recent thing, because it's not a one and done as well. Our understanding of the world, our understanding of ourselves grows. And so actually having fixed goals isn't always fit for purpose. It is in particular context, but I went to a group of people that met down in downtown Vancouver recently. I'm not going to talk about why or what, because I don't think that's relevant. And I'm looking around at these people, and I felt at home. I felt there was a community. And I'm walking back, and I walk through the marina. Ironically, it's so funny you brought up boats. It's obviously there in the back of my mind. And I'm looking at the boats, and on my vision board, I have a boat. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Why do I want a boat? I don't want a boat. What I wanted is the community. I wanted connection.
Yeah.
And ironically, if you have a boat, you're in isolation. You're on the water on your own.
Yeah, you're by yourself.
And, what do I really want? And when I realized that I wanted connection, and that was more about my authentic self today, it helped me get clarity in terms of the choices that I make. I can hide in the bubble. I can hide on Zoom. We all got accustomed to, and we did. It became a ready-made excuse for isolation, or I can gather how the world is by YouTube or TikTok or Twitter. Yeah, I don't do TikTok. I'm far too old, right? But all of those things. But we want connection, or at least I do. Not everyone does. But recognizing that is definitely informed what drives me, my why, my real purpose in life, which is going to be fulfilled. It'll never be fulfilled by a car. But yeah, I want a car. There's an ego that says, you know what, I want the flying lady on the bonnet of my Rolls Royce. I don't have one, if you're listening, right? But I still want that experience because my ego drives it. Yeah. But will it fulfill me? No.
Yeah. And that's what people, when they have, they're still not happy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's generalized, but you know what I mean, right? Like, people think that by having the yacht, by having the car, by having the Rolls Royce, then they think that's what will make them happy. But in the end, as you just explained, it's not fulfilling them because they haven't digged inside to find exactly why do they want that. And for you, I think the realization of the example of the boat, like, it's in my bucket list, but when you're in a boat, you're not connecting, you're isolating yourself. And so then why do I want a boat? Like, do I really want a boat? If I just want a vacation, I can rent one for a week and then go on a vacation and come back, and then that's it. I'm fulfilled, right? For that time. But I love that. Great analogy.
So, but what I will say, there's a but there. That's based on what's right for me. It'd be what's right for you. You'll have your own version. And that's the irony. Who am I as a coach, as in whatever context, to turn around and say, well, what you want is wrong or it's right? And it's helping my clients with their business, using their business to realize their personal wants, or an executive so that he can become more effective because that helps him or her do what they want to do within their role, grow or otherwise, who am I to define whether that's appropriate or not? I may have my own values, which helps me qualify the people I want to work with and the impact that I can really make for people. But if you want to make buckets loads of money, right, and you want to do that in a way that's aligned with my values, I'll celebrate that. I'll be enjoying the champagne with you, or whatever your drink of choice is, right? And I'll be there when you buy your 200-foot boat, right? But it's not for me to say that that's wrong or right. It's you have to just be yourself. And what I've noticed is that, do you remember in my spiel at the beginning where I talked about why I got into the NLP and how I became a trainer of it was to support my team get out their way.
Yeah.
If we stop the deception that we have of ourselves, of I want this and then I'll be happy, or if I do that, then I'll be a success, right? If we stop that deception and say, actually, I'm happy now and I get to do all of these things and they're fulfilling, life becomes a lot easier. There's so much reduction in resistance. There is this opportunity to really be fulfilled, to be joyful, to be happy. And I can tell you, go back to Warren Buffett's story, when he does lay on his bed for that last time, he'll, because of who he is and how he is, he will look back and he say, you know what, I'm fulfilled. I'm happy. I've done something that was greater than not doing.
Wonderful. But how do people know that what is the right thing to do?
Okay, so I think that we all have those moments, right, that we're faced with choices. And every time we're faced with a choice, we make the best decision we can in the given moment based on all of the presenting information. And the universe, the economy, our friends will give us perfect feedback. We might not like it, but we'll get perfect feedback. But we also have those moments of internal reflection where we know, you know what, that is right or that is wrong. And I don't feel good about it. And we have to tune into that internal metronome that gives us that feedback. We have to pay attention. We don't have to, you might feel bad about something, but it may be a metaphor for something else. So it's becoming present with oneself and having alignment, congruence, personal integrity, instead of personal judgment. Because I think the judgment causes us to behave in such a way that reinforces the biases based on our previous decisions, our previous learnings, our previous beliefs, our culture, our environment. We can't grow if we're stuck in, well, I've done that and that's what the consequences are, and therefore this is how it always must be. No, it's not that. Come back to the moment, embrace your true self, right? And try it. And if it doesn't work, guess what? You took one step in the direction. It's only one step to go back.
Yeah.
The detour, you're going to end up in the same place. How you get there is your choice of how you experience it. Trust that inner barometer, that joy. Does this make you feel good? Does it make you feel bad? There's a pretty good clue.
Yeah, and for the way you explained that made me think of, it's like Edison that tried 1,000 times to do the light bulb, and it's like, hey, that didn't work, but I've learned one more way not to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like I've learned one more thing that I'm sure I don't want to do, or it's not part of me, or it's you gain curiosity, right? Okay, well, if that didn't work, what else could work?
Absolutely.
Right? But it's all a mindset, because you could say, oh, that failed and I'm just a failure and I won't try again because I don't like failing. Then it's two different ways of looking at a situation, right?
But the thing is, we've got this gift. For better or worse, we have this brain that can create a future and it can create a past mentally. And it's only a creation. So I know we're pushing on the time, so I just want to finish with
No rush.
with one story which really happened to me. So I've done all of the guru work, right? I've been with all these people, and I've got whoa, and I've cheered, and this is going to change my life. And I had a list on my iPad of all the things I wanted to have, right, which included the car, the boat, and the camera, and all of this. And I'll never forget, in the United Kingdom, we have a lotto for the country, but we also have a thing called the Euro Millions, which goes across Europe, and occasionally it gets to the most outrageous levels of wealth that can change someone's life and more. So one day the lotto had got to 168 million pounds sterling. I guess that's a significant sum of money, close to 300 million Canadian, right? So I remember waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I looked at my iPad, I don't know why, and there was a message from Lottery HQ, as it's called, and they said, "You have won." I couldn't open up my email. There was something wrong with the iPad. I had to go downstairs, but I didn't. I felt like the Schrödinger's cat thought experiment, where is the cat alive or dead, in a sealed box with some arsenic or some other stuff. No one knows until you observe the thing. Yeah. So for that moment, at 1 o'clock in the morning, I was a multi-millionaire. And I remember thinking, I'm not going to go downstairs, but I'm going to look at my list again and think which I'm going to go and buy first. And I started going through that list and saying, now I can afford it. I don't really want it.
I don't really want it. Yeah.
And there was nothing left on that list. It was the strangest experience going. Now, the tail ends that I went downstairs in the morning.
You won £10?
No, I won 2.4. £2.40. But that's the incredible power of the brain.
Of course.
But we don't need to create a situation like that, or fortuitously or otherwise. All we have to do is say, what would it be like? What would it be like at the successful completion of my life, my year, my day? How would I be? Who would the people I'd be around? What would my business look like? What would my impact be? Which is why I like the idea, and I go back to it, being a good ancestor. It's different from creating a legacy. And if you ever want to test that idea, right, we may know the name of our parents. We may know the name of our grandparents, possibly our great-grandparents. But can you tell me who your great-great-grandparents were?
No idea.
Right? But they gave you life. We are, by the freak of nature, if you think about the improbability of life, you only exist because every one of your ancestors did. They survived. But what type of how can we be a great ancestor for our future generations rather than just leave a legacy that may be squandered? Are we creating a legacy where we don't have a planet that we can breathe the air in? We've got a legacy of hate. If we got a legacy of, hey, we created a great cash pile and my next generation are going to use it and turn themselves into whatever. Right? We're at this moment of choice. But the crazy thing is, if you don't make that choice today, and this is, I'm going to lean in and tell you the secret, we get to make the choice again tomorrow and the day after. It's not one and done. We can do this all the time. So why put off? Why wait for FOMO, fear of missing out, or you only live once, to be reminded that you have the greatest opportunity now? Make better choices now. Coaching can help you. Coaching can help your business get there. Coaching can help you as an executive. It can help you as an individual. It can help you learn the techniques so that you can find serenity. I can't even say it. You can learn meditative practice. We can do all those other things that can support you being able to trust, have faith in the greatest thing that exists in your world, which is you.
Mm-hmm.
So who are you, Denise, or who am I, Joel, to get in the way of somebody? But rather we are their guide, their support. We hold their hands. We help lift them up to their potentiality,
Mm-hmm.
rather than trying to make everyone equal by cutting off their legs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Let's
agree.
live intentionally.
Yeah, leave the world better than we took it, you know?
Yeah. Move everything along for the better.
Yeah.
Don't think about what can I take from you.
Yeah.
How can I contribute? How can I serve you better?
That's great.
So,
sorry, I just got a coughing fit.
I was hoping you were choked emotionally.
I know, almost. Well, I'm sure people want to talk to you personally after this. So if you want to talk with Joel, you go to 𝙎𝙃𝙪𝙧 So you just, if you're watching the video, stop the video and write it down. Trust me, it's better than what we had there before. So just click on that. You'll have a calendar link, and then you can book a call with Joel, which is also a gift from him. Where no, that's mine. That's not yours. So where you can get a complimentary coaching session with him, and trust me, having even if it's 20 minutes one-on-one with Joel, or half an hour. How long are your complimentary session? As long as it needs. Kind of.
Who am I to get in the way?
Exactly. So whatever, there's probably a time limit, but if you have something after, but I know how generous you are into wanting to help people. So if you click on that link here and the 𝙎𝙃𝙪𝙧 then you can book that complimentary session with Joel and have a chat and share with him your dream, and share with him, and he will support you in maybe doing the first shovel towards a new path where you want to achieve your dream and go to.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk to your audience.
You're very welcome. It was a gift to myself, and consequently they have benefited from that too. So
click and we can have another call.
Shorten. Oh, that's shorten.
Yes.
Shorten.
I don't know what the NU is.
Well, it's short them.
Yeah.
Short them. .nu, whatever.
Or they can go to coaching. Go to coachingsuccess.ca. That's easy to remember as well.
Yes.
You can find me that way.
Wonderful. All right. Just stay there, Joel. I'll be right back with you. I hope you appreciate this talk. Joel is just a gem of a wonderful man. And book that call. Book that call with him. Use him. Take advantage of his gift of being able to talk with you, and that'll be great. So now that we talked about gift, and I popped that up a little bit earlier, I also have a gift, which is if you're going through changes, and this checklist have been done for whenever you become an empty nester, but that can be applied to any major changes you have in your life, and how to overcome the turmoil that you might go through when these changes happen. So you can go to, see, mine's a bit easier, bit.ly/starting over checklist, and you can download that gift. And if you want to talk with me, it's tiny.cc/talk with Denise. I'm going to give some lesson to Joel once we're done with that. And and you can book a call if you want to talk with me, if you want to be on this show, whatever you feel excited about. I would love to talk with you. And go to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Denise Belisle. Subscribe, click on the bell. So whenever I have a new interview, you'll be notified. And I'd love to for you to watch other episodes that I've done. And this episode will be also stored on YouTube, so you can go watch it from there And don't be shy to comment in the chat if you have anything to say or a question for Joel. So until next time, I'm excited to come back next week again with another amazing guest. And until next time, be kind to one another. Goodbye.